to another episode
of Living Beyond Limits,
where we wind down
and level up
together.
I miss it.
We're officially back. They must have thought something happened to us.
I know, guys. It's just life, you know. But we're back, and since Wicked has been a very, very popular movie, and we love the movie, we decided to talk about it in this episode.
Yes, and how it correlates to our vision, our mission for our Living Beyond Limits network.
So, who do you want to start with first?
Well, we should start with, the star of all stars.
Miss Elphaba.
Elphaba. First of all, can we talk about the actor herself?
Cynthia. She did her thing. Her singing, her acting, her everything.
Yes.
And I think just so you can, know her story about how she, prepared for the role is insane.
Yeah.
She was working out and singing at the same time so she could play that role, you know? And I think that's amazing.
And she's so genuine. You watch her interviews, she has such a great heart. She's so motivating.
I love her. But, one of the reasons why we even wanted to talk about this movie is because I think me and Shani both felt connected to Elphaba.
Yes.
And how she lives beyond limits. And she talks about being unlimited, So, you want to talk about your favorite scene?
Oh, my favorite scene. Oh, when I first seen it, I cried.
Oh, no.
I cried. My phone was like, what is wrong with you? But I agree. But she's such an amazing character. And she had a really hard life. Her life was not, didn't start off easy. And I think that's how one reason I connected to her. She, she had to fight for everything. Every day. She had the right to be seen and things like that.
Yeah.
But my favorite scene was the dance party when they snuck out and they went to the dance hall. And she was excited to get there because she felt that Glinda, who we call, whatever we call her, seen her, accepted her, and she was excited to go and I think spend that time with her. And then she walks in and she's rejected again.
Yeah.
And then you could see where she feels the rejection, but I think she internally tells herself, I'm not gonna live with that rejection.
Yeah.
And then she goes and she puts herself out there, and I think that spoke to me in my experience, because I feel the rejection. I still feel rejection at times, but I really do try not to live there. And I think it really, I was in tears because it was a perfect scene to explain my life and how I have to fight every day to not live in that rejection.
Yeah, there's a brief point in that scene where the prince tells Glinda isn't she ashamed or doesn't she feel shy or afraid? And Glinda said, yeah, she does. She just doesn't show it. And I think that was a big part for me because I felt for most of my life, I had to do that to be able to go throughout life. People are always going to look at me. People are always going to they're wondering. I used to think of it as oh, I feel like they're judging me. But when I came to understand about people's curiosity, I started to realize it's just you just have to let them look. Even if it makes you feel uncomfortable, you just gotta face it, And I think that's just one of the things that she has really learned how to do. And she faced it. She did her dance, even though it was really hard, and she started crying. I felt that was really emotional for me too, because it was probably really hard for her. But that was very amazing, And people were just looking at her weird, but Glinda joined her, and I think that was the start of her feeling a little bit more accepted by others.
Just that someone can see, push through the opinions and the critical views of others and come alongside her and see her.
No, she did her thing. She did her thing. Because I don't even know I don't know if I look like her. I don't even know if I could do that. But she has built this confidence throughout the years to be able to, excel. Yeah.
And I think it's so powerful. Like someone was willing to be uncomfortable with her.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Like I think watching the earlier versions of her, she was the only one uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Everyone, her father, they want to be around her.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Her sister didn't want to be around her. Yeah.
And just for Galinda to take that step and say, "I'll be uncomfortable with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll stand with you." I think that was very powerful.
It was. It definitely was. We were proud of Galinda at that point.
Yes.
She's a character.
She goes back and forth.
Yeah, she goes back and forth. But no, she really did that for her, and it was really amazing. Yeah.
Now talking about Galinda, we might as well
talk about
Galinda.
Galinda. She changed her name, so we don't know. But
I think her character talks a lot to what does it mean to be popular.
Yes. Yeah.
And how did she struggle with that?
I feel like I feel like it was touched briefly in the movie, like, or she had a line that said it, like, it takes a lot to keep up her popularity. It takes a lot to keep up, what she stands for, right? Her hair has to be perfect, her clothes have to be perfect. The way that she presents herself, like, even before, if you notice, like, in the movie, before she goes to somebody, she's, like, fixing her posture, like, and for her, even though she is popular, I wonder, like, you get to see a glimpse of, how do I say?
Vulnerability.
Yeah, because it takes so much to be her. And I think, like, watching the movie, sometimes she could be overlooked because she seems like she has it all. But she probably really struggles to try to keep up that stamina, I feel like. I think she tries to be accepted by all because she feels that she is popular. So it's like, there are moments where she should be like, it doesn't make sense that people don't like me, or, I have to learn how to be, like, on you guys' level, like, to be normal. I don't know, there was a line that she said that I laughed because I was like, she's like, I guess this is what it means to, like, be you, and I'm just like, wow, she, like, really doesn't know, and so she fights to keep that up. But I think when she's most tested is when they have to part ways. And then, like, she realized, like, there's, at least for me, the way I see it is that the world is far bigger than her, Like, the world, there's, like, so many things that you have to go through and, like, accomplish than just being popular. And I feel like that happens in the scenes from when they go to the Wizard of Oz, and, like, she's, like, really trying to see now, like, okay, like, I didn't consider this before.
Yeah. She kind of lived in her bubble for a long time.
A long time.
And it's funny because she, in the beginning scene, she comes out of a bubble.
A bubble, yeah. And, like, she's this princess fairy person that everybody looks up to. So, I don't know. I think she has finally gotten to that place of there's a world outside of me. I think Elphaba gives her that, It shows her that.
Yeah.
I'm still mad at her though. So.
And I think her popularity was a cover. I think she felt as vulnerable as Elphaba. I think she struggled just as much. You just see it in a different way. I think she felt like she had to portray, to put on a certain mask to be accepted. Right? Elphaba, she didn't do that, right? She lived in her group. She lived in her truth. Right?
True.
But Galinda, she felt like she couldn't show her truth. She couldn't show who she was. But they still struggle with the same thing.
They do.
They still didn't
It's
feel
just
accepted.
it's different sides of it. Yeah.
And thinking about my life, like, I think there were times I felt like to walk into a room, to be accepted in a room, I had to put on a certain persona.
Yeah.
Or I'll be rejected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had to, like, fit in.
Yeah.
In certain spaces. Very true. I'll be joking, guys. Like, I just don't like how things turned out for her, or like I guess like I was just hoping that her mind would change when she like saw Lily, but that's the only part like that I don't like. But I do understand that it takes a lot to want to like leave something that you know so well and like try to work for the acceptance, right? So like you were saying, do you remember when they're on the roof and they're like trying to fight the bad people, and she sees the sorcerer lady, and she hugs the sorcerer lady, and the lady's like telling her to come, and I feel like for Glenda that was the moment of her acceptance, right? Like, okay, like finally, like this lady sees me, because throughout the movie she's trying to get that one lady's attention, so she could be, you know, that was accepted in that way. And I think for me, like, even in school, like, there were people that were popular than me. And I remember this one time, I think I was in, like, 5th grade. And there was always, my class shared this one table in the cafeteria. But the popular people always sat on the other side of the table. And then the people who, I guess, not so popular, sat on the other side, and I remember always looking to that side and being like, man, I want to sit with them, like I want to engage in conversation with them and find out what they're talking about, because honestly, like if you could hear what they were talking about was like regular things, but they kind of just separated ourselves from them. And I remember I wanted to sit with them so bad, so this is gonna make me feel like I'm such a bad person. No. But I had a friend that I sat with every day. And because I wanted to go sit with the kids, I left her. I left sitting with her for one day just to see how it felt to go sit with the kids. And so I sat with them at lunch, and we were laughing, we were giggling and stuff. And then I remember when lunch was over, my parent was like, I didn't like what you did. And I was like, what happened? I wanted to go sit with the kids. And she was like, well, you made my friend's name, her name was Jessica. And she was like, you left Jessica alone. And apparently she got emotional, she started crying. And I felt like the bully. Like, I felt like the bad person in that moment. So she was like, oh, that's so horrible. Like, you have to apologize to her. And I was like, that's so shitty. So I ended up apologizing to her, but in that moment, I wasn't thinking about like how it could affect her. And I think like that's what Galinda, like those moments with Galinda, I see how real it can be because I've been there. You know,
how easy it is to fall into that, like,
just because of acceptance. So yeah, you know, that literally just came to mind. I haven't remembered that in so long, but yeah, that was really bad. That was like a moment where I felt like I was like that bully, or Galinda, to just be able to just go into a space because you don't want to be like less than, you know, accepted by more.
Yeah. I mean, I've had times with that too, where, you know, I wanted to be accepted.
Yeah.
So I would leave a true friend. I would engage in something because I know the popular people wouldn't approve of it or those kind of things. So I think we can all fall into that, because I know there are things I still think about, like, man, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have treated that person that way. Or, you know, especially in high school. You know, I was like the only one in my high school that like walked with crutches, and I felt like it was so much pressure on me to find a place where I would fit in. So I think during that time I let myself down. I wasn't truly who I was meant to be. I was always putting on like, oh, this group needs me to be this way, so I would be that way. Yeah. And then this group, you know, I mean, it was exhausting. I would go home and be like, oh my gosh, but, you know, I
got 3 people today.
Yeah, I got to do this. And then my true friends really, I think they suffered because, you know, they were looking at me like, what are you doing? This is not me. And until today, I feel like I'm a better friend now, but I still think about those moments because that wasn't me. But there was so much pressure to be accepted, to be popular. That, you know,
it's true. We do a lot to want to be accepted, you know, and I feel like as long as you just acknowledge it and know that it comes from a place of vulnerability and is willing to apologize or take accountability, like it's okay, because in vulnerable moments we just do anything. We don't really know. We get blinded by things. But I feel you. I was in every school I've been to. I was the only one with a walker, and people like knew that I was coming down the hallway because I had the sound, yeah. And they'd be like, "Oh yeah, we know it's you." And I remember just always wanting to like, I would imagine like a hole and feeling like I want to fall into that hole so nobody could see me, you know, because the walker makes me feel so seen. And feeling so seen means to be out there and you want to fit in, right? So I just would always try to like just imagine like a box that I could put myself in and just be like, I don't want to be embarrassed. I just want to be in this box. But it's true. But yeah, gosh, I had a Galinda moment.
I've had a few. All right, so now we're talking about kind of bullying and things like that. So we can talk a little bit about the quote unquote bullies that kind of were
her backup people.
Glenda's backup.
Yeah.
Chin and
Fiani. I feel like they didn't even have their own sense of self. Like they just followed behind whatever Glenda wanted them to do. People pleasing, you know. And I feel like if they didn't, they probably felt like if they didn't do that, then they were also less than. Right? Because Glenda's this like popular person, and how could I be on her level? Even like the song Loathing. Yes. I love that song. But like when the entire school is singing along, they're literally saying like, oh Glinda, how can we be just like you? Like we wanna loathe just like you. We wanna, you know, everybody's kind of like almost like worshiping her. But those two especially, honestly, they even like emphasized anything that she was trying to do. And they were part of the bullying of Papa too, you know. But that people pleasing could really lead you to like horrible places, you know.
Yeah, just like attaching yourself to a popular person, but then you, like you said, you lose yourself.
You do.
They didn't have much of a individual character, right? You don't see them much because they're in Glenda's shadow.
They are every moment, honestly. And when it came to Glinda, like doing the dance with her, they were just like, "What are you doing?" You know, like you're supposed to be this popular person. When have you been this vulnerable? But yeah.
And then they went, you know, then they saw the benefit in just being vulnerable, you know. But I mean, I think I had moments where I hid behind people, you know.
Yeah.
Where I didn't feel confident to speak out who I really was. So I had to mimic.
Like there was things that I wasn't allowed to do, but I did them in school because it was the popular thing to do, right? I think like even like something as simple as like wearing mascara. Like I always felt like I was wearing mascara at school. I was not allowed to wear no mascara, but I would like take it from my mom. Sorry, Mom. And hide it in my bag and then go to school and then put it on with the girls to try to fit in. And it didn't really get anywhere. I think that's the whole point. It's kind of like you do all this work to be this person, but being that person isn't worth it, right? Are you seen as someone who's respected, or are you just seen as someone that like everybody likes to be around? And I think those two really just wanted to just be that. You know, they just wanted to be liked by so many people so they could be around them. But yeah.
So next one is Vanessa Rose. And can we talk about the character itself first? How she is breaking ceilings for us.
Yeah, she actually is a wheelchair user in real life. I thought that was something really, really amazing.
Yeah.
And I actually like the fact that they gave her like a fancy, like they built her a fancy.
Yes.
It was really cool.
Just like such acceptance and accessibility in the filming, and you know the little girl that plays her in the beginning is also in the wheelchair.
Really? That's so cute. Oh, she's adorable in the beginning
She is
too.
adorable. If I could just meet her for 5 seconds,
she's so cute.
Yeah, that's amazing. I just want to speak to like that's breaking ceilings for us, and really, I think it motivates me, you know, and I hope it motivates other people to like do your, you know, go for your dreams, don't let anything stop you.
Exactly. You know, like we could be in these big movies, you know, and play good parts. It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool because her character is also trying to be independent as well. Like she's trying to like break barriers and things like that. And I think because she spent so much time being home with her father and her sister, she's like, I want to go to the schools that I could like find myself and like be by myself. So like that was her thing, you know. And I definitely think she was unlimited and living beyond limits, you know. I know that there were times where like she didn't want Alphabet to help her, you know, or anyone to help her. But she was finding her way. You know, I think she even got herself a man.
Yes.
So
it's cool to talk about the wanting love and how challenging that could be as a person with a disability.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
It's not. It's not. And people kept calling her. What did they say? There was a thing they were calling her by tragically beautiful woman.
Oh yeah.
That's what they were saying. And I didn't like that. I'm like, why does she have to be tragically beautiful?
Exactly. That's like when I used to be in school, people would stop me and they're like, you know, you're still so beautiful, and I'm like, what does that mean? Like, so I shouldn't be beautiful because I walk with a walker. With crutches. That's disrespect.
Exactly. I think I understand what they're trying to do because they're trying to make us feel that we are still seen beyond like our conditions, but it's actually more insulting than it is like a compliment. So I feel like I think that was what they were trying to portray in the movie, and I thought it was really good to incorporate that. But I was just like, like she doesn't have to be tragically beautiful; she could just be beautiful. And she shows that, like with how she
really does.
maneuvers in the school, how she interacts with people there, even when she went to the dance. You know, like so.
Yeah, and it's like she was like unapologetic. Like even when she like her father dropped her off, and the Alphabet was like, oh, don't help her, and then she kind of built herself up to like people when she introduced herself. That showed so much confidence, and I wish I had that much confidence when I was in school. You know,
she did her thing. I know it probably isn't easy, but she probably had to really prepare, you know, mentally for it, and she did. She did her thing. You know, she said like this was the goal that she wanted to do, and she's doing it. I thought what was interesting though is like she does not want to be seen because of her connection to her sister. Like it's like almost like her sister's presence is too loud. And then I thought to myself, I'm like, but you don't think your presence is too loud? I thought that was interesting.
That is interesting.
Like you would think that being in the wheelchair would put you at a place that's like we said, like just seen in this way, and we want to hide. But for her, it's like the times that she did want to hide had nothing to do with her being in a wheelchair.
Very true.
She just wanted to hide because her sister is Alphabet.
And I mean, it shows that even as people with disabilities, we can be judgmental at times.
Yes.
I mean, I don't think at least I don't wake up and say, I'm going to be judgmental today, you know? But sometimes, you know, and it goes back to popular, you know, she wanted to be accepted, and because even in the dance, right, her sister was dancing, and she's so back, I can't watch. But she didn't step up there and dance with her.
No, she did
because she wanted a form of popularity as well. Or to be accepted.
To be accepted, exactly. To kind of just be seen as her own person and not Alphabet's sister. So I thought that was really interesting. But she definitely did her thing. And as we were talking about it, I'm like, yeah, there is constant themes of acceptance, like with every character. Like that's true, you know.
And when you're going to talking about her cool thing.
I understand, like we know that Glenda arranged it, but I also think like I liked when he danced with her in the movie, like and how they were dancing, like. You know, and she even was surprised herself. She's like, "Really, you sure you want to dance?" And she's dancing with him. I think that even like again shows like we get to be in these spaces to film these movies to like portray that we could be something more, someone more than just a girl.
We can always find our way. We can always adapt to things, and that encouraged me because I think that's one thing I struggled with. Like, I always wanted to be seen, but I didn't know how. How am I going to be seen in a high school dance? Like, when I can't really wear heels or I can't dance independently. Or, like, you know, so I think it encouraged me to be like, you can always adapt.
Yeah, exactly. I think for me, like, I always try to find ways to, like, have fun in party spaces. Like, I mean, it's this with, like, my family's had a lot of parties, right? And someone has always asked me to dance, but then the comfortability changes from family to being in school because now it's like she's dancing, like how, you know? And people questioning that then made me not want to do it. So then in school dances, I'm either like sitting down somewhere by myself, and it's not till I think maybe like senior year prom when I was asked. That was really nice, and like that scene with her and Bach made me think about the time that I got to dance with my dance partner, and he was very kind about it, and like he would ask like, just let me know if I'm moving too fast or you know I'm not moving fast enough. So that was really sweet, and I think like that was the beginning of me realizing like you don't have to adjust yourself for the world. The world can like,
and they should
adjust. Yeah, like the world can adjust for you.
And they should adjust.
You don't have to constantly make yourself feel like you have to. So
that's a huge thing.
So, you know, that was a very important time for myself. Because I was very nervous about going to prom. I don't know even being asked to prom. So honestly, my prom stuff became very last minute because I didn't want to go because I was afraid that I wouldn't get the prom date or I wouldn't get to dance, you know. But it happened.
The movie is full of messages.
A lot of them. As we're talking, I'm like, wait, she's right.
So many messages.
So many.
How about this last character we'll talk about? Dr. Dillerman.
Oh, the professor.
The professor.
Yes. I like this character. And for him, they were trying to basically get rid of all the animals. And he was like one of the last ones that stayed in school.
And the ones that could talk, they didn't want animals to talk anymore.
And he stayed and he continued to educate people on, you know, just educate like for his class, but like literally told them what was happening. No one really, it didn't seem like many people cared except for Alpha. He really tried until the end, and he also, in a way, was being, I guess we would call it bullied when you don't think that horrible message from him. And it was kind of like he probably felt like he didn't have a place in the world.
You know what it made me think about just now?
What?
Like, to be bullied as a kid or a teenager is one thing, right? But to be bullied when you're in your profession, or to be rejected,
and that is very possible to be bullied in your profession at the workplace,
or rejected or not seen in your profession. That's big, and it's hard.
Yeah, because and he seems like a very smart and well-rounded professor, but he wasn't respected all because he was an animal, and they didn't want to, give him the chance to even speak, to share all he has to share, to do his job. So for him, like, till they even dragged him out of the classroom, he was still talking and like showing people like, hey, this is happening to me, this is a very real thing
And he was even organizing like the meetings in his house to get people together so that their voices aren't silenced. And I think that teaches us a lot as a community of people with disabilities. Like that, it's hard, especially when you're in the profession, but don't give up. Don't let people silence you.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I love my profession, but there's the moments where, and we talked about this in past episodes, where I haven't been accepted for a job, or and I'm very capable. I have degrees and things like that. I have letters behind my name, but sometimes people don't see that. They see my challenge. They see my difference. And with Dr. Dillman, they first saw his difference, and connected that to his inability, or they thought he had an inability to be a professional.
Yeah. And it's funny because, like, how you can question somebody that has a doctorate degree?
Exactly.
He's a whole goat with a doctorate degree. It's true. You're constantly doubted. Like all your skills are put aside. Your knowledge is put aside.
You gotta work harder.
Yeah.
To be seen in the professional arena, you have to work harder.
You have to work harder. And like I know, like one of the things we talk about is like we are women, people of color, and part of the disability community. So it's like in all 3 aspects we have to work harder. So just to see our growth and like how far we've come.
Yes,
it was not easy. And I would like to think that we are very much, respected by a lot of people. But we also don't know. You can still enter into spaces and people are like, how are you this person? So it can be very challenging, but I think the whole message behind Progressive Dillman is just don't give up. Keep
and find a community.
Find a community. Even if you have to formulate it yourself, because that's what he did. And you keep fighting. You keep fighting, because if you don't continue the fight, things are taken away from you, and then that's it. So very proud of that message. Proud of us for even sticking behind our professions and our journey. Because I feel like at all moments we both had to fight through so many differences to prove ourselves as just human beings, honestly. But we did it.
And that brings us to our conclusion about what does it mean to be unlimited. And I think we should hit a lot of good points. So being unlimited means, like standing on who you are, not standing behind people, not hiding behind people, right? Knowing that you'll have to fight through something, but not giving up. Letting your voice be heard, no matter who tries to reject it. Being confident in who you are.
All that Charlene said, and I just feel like it's just a moment to show people your strength and your sense of resilience. Like without those 2 things, or many, many others as well, like you don't get to show people that you're unlimited, And I think in a world where we live by seeing is believing, we constantly have to show by action how we are unlimited, and that's okay. Like a lot of people don't want to believe in faith, but if you are going to do it, make sure you do it for you and not for showing because you want to prove to somebody that you can do it, but proving it to yourself that you are capable. And that you are unlimited, and people will see that through you, through your energy. You go in and people can just feel that from you. I know for me, I always feel that from you. Like when you enter into a space, like your energy and your persona is just, nobody has to I don't at least have to question capability from Johnny because of how you hold yourself, like how you portray yourself. And sometimes with certain people, they work so hard at that, they don't even have to speak, right? They can just give that, and then you are so enticed to go to them and get to know them because you want to know where this energy comes from, where this persona comes from, and how you've been able to like lift up yourself. So, running for me is very unlimited.
I know. I want to say I see the same thing. And you, I mean, I've known you for years.
Yeah, I don't know. We're a little biased because we've known each other for a long time.
Years. You know, but when I first met you, I mean, I put myself in your shoes. Like I knew why it was hard for you, why it was easier to shrink back.
Yeah.
Right. So there was no judgment because I was there a few years before I met you, right? But since then, I can see you really fighting to be confident in the space, even when you're unsure, right?
Yeah.
You don't walk into a room with that unsureness on your sleeve.
Yeah.
Like you might tell me or Allison, but the other people, like you portray this certainty, and I think you sit in it, and eventually you start believing it, and then you start coming up with that. So I definitely see this in growth in you, and like I said, I think it just takes growth. It takes time.
It takes time.
It takes time. You know, I think for a long time it was safer to shrink, to question,
the word I was looking for, wanting to shrink to be small. Yeah.
It was easier, right?
Yeah.
But then eventually I was like, this is exhausting.
It is.
I want to be confident. I want to walk into a room and people know that even if it's hard, I can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I said, what do I have to do to get there?
Yeah.
You know, so I connect to things like my faith and therapy and things like that to help me bring that out.
Yeah.
I don't think people aren't born with confidence on their sleeve, right? It has to be pulled out of them because of circumstance or situation. So
I always say that, like, we are born coming into this world knowing how to do this or how to live like that, but every new thing you encounter is a learning lesson. You know, that's how I see it. And so every time I learn something new, I'm like, oh, wow, like, I'm actually capable of this. I surprise myself every day. And then I'm like, oh, I'm capable of this. Okay, like, the next time I know that I can do this because I'm capable of it, you know? You know, and I always say, as human beings, you will always carry feelings of doubt and uncertainty. But as long as we don't sit in it, like Charlene says, you know, as long as we don't stay there and we give ourselves a reason to come out of that, right? But with every choice, it starts with the uncertainty, and then we find our way, we find our path. And all you have to really do is try. That's all it takes, is just trying.
Failure is when you stop.
Exactly.
When you don't keep moving, that's the only time you fail.
Exactly.
You know.
I have some great quotes by Charlene, like when you get into your therapy space. I'm just like, how did she come up with these things? Because a lot of what she speaks of in therapy is about how your mind can change, but you don't even realize when you're doing it, right? Like, you question, but you also have to explore with the questioning and then get to somewhere. And I just always sit there, I'm like, wow, she's magical. Let me write this down and like reflect on that. But it's very true. So yeah, I think we just wanted to share that because this is what the movie made us feel.
It's an amazing movie.
It's an amazing movie, and as we were sitting here, I'm like, there's so many messages in there.
So many messages.
So many. And I am also looking forward to part 2.
Yes.
I want to see how that turns out. But they did such a great job.
Amazing job. So that brings us to our conclusion of our first episode of 2025.
Yes, it is.
Again, we're excited to be back.
Yes, we are.
Please comment, share. Please comment really your thoughts about what we talked about. Any follow-up questions you might have. If you want a part 2 to it, if you want to come on the episode. Last year we started interviewing people and that was really fun. So we want to do that more. So
we're gonna have
messages and say, hey, I want to come on, and we'll definitely have you on. We have some exciting things planned for the upcoming months. We're still doing one episode a month with different things. So let us know. Put your ideas in the comments. You are our family, so we want to share what is meaningful to you. We want to talk about what is meaningful to you. And like we always said, like, we are your community. So if you need someone if you're having a hard time, if you need to talk to someone, please DM us, and
Yes.
we would love to come alongside you and support you.
Support you, yeah. This is all about creating a community, so I'm really excited, for all of us to get together and spread more love and knowledge, But yeah, we will see you guys soon on the next one.
Until then.
Continue to live your